Right. Um, Go ahead and get started. Feel free to stay on camera, stay off camera, however you'd like. I ask you just remain muted. If you have a question about anything, go ahead and speak out. Or if you want to just put it into the chat, I'll be kind of monitoring the chat as well. Um, Welcome to Adobe Sign Training. I am Matt Smoot. I am the Learning, Innovation, and Technology Consultant for Wayne Risa. Recognize a lot of faces on here, and some new faces as well. And I hope everyone is staying warm. Went out this morning to take the garbage out, and it was definitely a little frigid. So, um, appreciate being able to work remotely and hope you are staying warm. So, Adobe Sign. So, as a Wayne Risa employee, you do have access to a premium version of Adobe. Adobe is kind of the, I don't want to say the gold standard when it comes to like PDFs and everything, but it's definitely high up there. Um, and just so you know, a PDF, one of the main reasons why PDFs are so nice is because they don't take up a lot of space in terms of memory. They're very low in terms of like comparatively to like an image or even like a doc, like a Word document. So it's a smaller file. It's also more secure. It can be locked down. It can be password protected, and Adobe Sign is a way to acquire signatures. From multiple people, and that's really nice if you're, having to request any kind of travel stipend or if you're requesting any kind of signature. It's really nice because you don't even have to be a Wayne Recent employee to use the system. Anybody that has access to a computer can have an Adobe signature. So that's really nice. Um, so what I'm going to be doing is I have this presentation. If you've ever been to one of my trainings before, I actually like to be in the actual programs itself. The presentation is going to be more for like any kind of resources or anything like that. So we'll probably start off in the presentation, but then we'll get into actually Adobe Sign. Okay, so like I said earlier, it enables organizations to streamline the PDF signing process. Excuse me. It's really nice because you can track signatures, you can do bulk signatures, you can have them make sure that signatures are done in order. So maybe the last signature would be the approver of whatever you're having signed, whether it be a supervisor, director, what have you. So there's a couple different ways to access Adobe Sign. Through this presentation, you'll be able to go to the second slide and click on the accessing Adobe Sign. You can also go to um, your Adobe Acrobat applications. So there's both a an application that should be on your computer, as well as a web-based application. So this can be done through the web or done on a computer itself. One of the nice things about the computer itself is you don't have to be online to be able to access it. So if you're, ever needing to do any kind of PDFs, in a remote area where you don't have Wi-Fi, I'm not sure if you need to be doing that or not, but it's always nice to have the option. And then, of course, you have the online version as well. Pretty similar interface in terms of what they both can do. Um, and so then when you sign in, you're going to want to make sure that you're signing in with your Reader credentials. So you can either do that through the email address or you can do sign in with Google and then use your Reader credentials. Um, if you don't use your Reader credentials, more than likely you will not be able to access Adobe Sign because again, it is a premium product. Even if you had a like a personal Gmail or something, you wouldn't be able to, create. You could create signatures, but you wouldn't be able to like manage signatures and everything like that. I'm gonna go ahead and escape out of here. So again, I have the Adobe Acrobat uh, right here. So this is what happens when you open up through I'm on a Mac, so it looks a little bit different, but this is a symbol right here for Adobe Acrobat. Looks like a very pretty A. You can also sign in there. So on the upper right-hand corner, this is where you're going to sign in. It'll prompt you to put in your research credentials. You might have to do a two-factor authentication or anything like that. Um, and then on the left-hand side, you'll see at the very bottom where it says Adobe Acrobat Sign. I can also go on here and when I do see all tools, I see the fill and sign option. So this is another way to start Adobe Sign. But we're going to go ahead and use the web version because I think that's the most popular. Also, I don't know if the uh, Wayne Research computers have the full Adobe suite installed on the computers. Again, I don't have my PC's back at the office, so I wouldn't be able to tell, but I know at some point there was a download needed. So again, for this purpose, we'll be using online just because it makes it a little bit easier. So I'm gonna click on Adobe Acrobat Sign. Again, if you wanted to be able to do that, you can click inside the presentation right here. That will take you, or you can also just go to Google and type in Adobe Acrobat Sign. It's not as simple as like Google, where it's like sign.adobe.com. Google is docs.google.com and slides.google.com. It's not that simple, but a quick Google search will be able to get you there. All right. I just want to make sure, I do like to make sure that I'm somewhat interactive, even though this is a virtual training, making sure people are able to get in and your screen will look similar to mine. So if you wouldn't mind on your computer, just going to the web browser, so Chrome or whatever you prefer, going to Adobe Sign and then logging in with your research credentials. And you know you're logged in when in the upper right-hand corner, you'll click on this little icon and you'll see your email address. I'll give us about 30 seconds for that. Just in case no one got that, I put in the chat um, the URL for their presentation. Thank you for the confirmation. Okay, so the first thing I would like you to do is one thing you need to make sure of is that you actually have a signature. Um, this could be very easy to create. So I'm going to show you how to create a signature in Adobe Sign. So again, in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click on the little icon there, and then you're going to click on Profile Settings. You cannot do this in the Adobe Acrobat desktop version, as far as I can tell. They changed the interface. You used to be able to when I was preparing for this presentation. Technology is always constantly changing and everything. I wasn't able to find how to create it through the desktop app, but you can do it through the web app. So if you are using the desktop app, you might need to go to the web app for this purposes. If you already have a signature, don't worry about it. So what you do is again, click on that little icon right there. And then you're going to click on Profile Settings. And here's just information about your profile. But the biggest thing right here is on the left-hand side where it says My Signature. Now, I, of course, already have a signature, but if I wanted to create one, I can just click on Create. And there's a couple different ways to do it. You can draw it, which is very interesting if you are using a laptop or a mouse. You can see how well your your signature actually does. Um, the image is kind of unique because what you can do is just sign a piece of paper and then you take a picture of it, and then the signature will come up on that. Does a pretty good job. It's recommended that you do like a permanent marker or some kind of dark, like a really dark ink, just for it to really come through. You definitely don't want to do it with like a pencil or anything like that. And then the mobile one's nice because what this will do is this will actually, I'm sure if you've ever done it where you're like in an Apple store or those square pay where you have to take the phone and you kind of sign on your phone. That's another way to do it, is to actually do the mobile. When you do the mobile, you can put your cell phone number in, sign it. It'll have you log in through your phone. So just so you know, um, if you have a thing about not using your phone for professional purposes, um, you will have to sign in with your recent account on your phone to do that. So if you don't want to do that, you can have these two other options. And then it's created. You can also do initials. There are some forms that do require initials as well, and it's going to be the same kind of purpose. You either got the mobile, the image, or you got the draw. We got a couple of new folks in here. Good morning. I'm just putting into the chat the tiny URL and the that will give you access to the presentation. Okay, so um, that's really it when it comes to like the um, the settings. There's not a lot of ton of stuff you really have to worry about when it's in here. Just some more security preferences if you wanted to. But so we're just going to go home. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what it's like to request signatures, um, and to actually start the process. So as long as my internet is good, there we go. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click on here where it says request e-signatures. So the first thing it's doing is asking for a file. So this would be your PDF. A PDF can be anything from you can create one through Adobe Acrobat. You can actually create one in Microsoft Word and Google Docs, and it will you can download it as a PDF. And what you would just do for the signature lines, you would just do like the underline words that will do it. I had ChatGPT create a quick signature form for me. If you go to ChatGPT and put in the prompt, create me a simple PDF with signatures, it'll create a PDF for you. So what I'm going to do is I have this right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this right into my screen. So right here I have my file. If I wanted to name it a certain way, and then this is the message right here that's going to be the email message that's going to go to the recipients. So here's where you'll put the instructions on what to do with the document. Here you have a couple of different options. If you wanted to have a deadline on here, so let's say people had, 7 days from sending, they have 7 days to complete it. If they don't complete it within that 7 days, it does go away after that 7 days. You could have it do automatic reminder frequencies. So if they don't sign it, you can have it like set up like every day at 3 o'clock. It sends them a quick reminder. Hey, you haven't signed your form yet. You can put a password on it, and then the signature type. You can have electronic, or if you prefer paper version, what we'll do is you can choose paper with this, and then it'll give them the options to print it, whether they can then sign it. The next thing right down here is you have the recipients. So for example, if I want to send this to Michelle, so as you can see here, as I'm typing, it does autofill. Just so you know, when you're first starting to use it with the online version, the autofill will only work, have I've seen, with people that you've actually sent like emails to and signatures to. If you haven't, like, so for someone new, you might have to type in the full name, the full email address, excuse me, instead of doing the autofill. With the desktop version, it does do the autofill with everybody in the organization, the Wayne Research organization. I apologize if I'm coming across as like a robot. Hope that goes away. So I'm going to have right here, so Michelle will be one. And again, right here, I have the signer. Then down here, I can do another individual. So I'll have, let's say, like Judy Bowling. And then I can have myself. You can see here it says required to sign the document. The multi-factor authentication, what that means, that is either a password or you know how like on you for your when you're signing in to a web application with your Reese account, it has you put in that special code or it has you do the duo, the two-factor authentication. That's similar to this. So it's just an extra layer of security. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do, so once I have these names, and as you can see here at the top, recipients must sign in order. So this is where it has, so what it's going to do is it's going to send to Michelle first. Michelle will look it over, sign, and then once that's signed, it then gives a notification to Judy for her to sign, and then to me for me to sign at the very end. If you don't need that, so if anybody can sign anytime, you can just uncheck this box and then it'll send a message to all three recipients to be able to be signed. So I'm going to click on preview and add fields. Okay. So you can see here in the upper left-hand corner, it has the form fields. So right now I'm on Michelle. And so I'm going to click right here on recipient name. And I'm going to put that under the name tab. Now I'm going to click on e-signature. And her signature is required right here. Now you notice when I click on Judy, hers is a different color. It's green. So I click on name, put that here, signature right here. And then for me, I'm pink, recipient name. And they're not going to notice this on their end. This is just simply for you to organize who is sharing where. So when they receive this document, they're actually going to see where they have to type in their name. And then when they click on there, that's where that create signature is. So a little pop-up, as long as you're logged in, a little pop-up will say, do you want to sign? You click on your name and then it digitally stamps it. And so that's what that signature is. Um, and when I'm ready, I'm just going to click on send. I won't actually send it. Might be a little weird for them to get this random. I mean, they know I'm doing a training today, but still. I click on send and it sends it off. So it's really nice. Um, Again, I just created this quickly in ChatGPT, but it also could be as simple as, you go to signature. You see, I'm just doing shift and the hyphen to do like that big underline. When I do it as download and PDF, I need to open this in my Adobe so you can see what it looks like on Adobe's end. So here's the PDF right here. If I click on fill and sign, there's my signature. So I can bring that right over to here. Or if I want to request, this will take you back to that actual page, the web page. One of the nice things about the the desktop version, you can see here if you need to be able to put in like checkboxes. Um, if you have like radio buttons, you can put radio buttons so there's like a selection of different things. Um, so that's really nice to have. You can also put comments in here, so when you're sending it to people, they'll be able to see the comments. They won't be able to see the comments if they are not on here, so they have to actually be invited to see the comments. Um, so yeah, so fairly simple when you're looking at creating a PDF. I know Reading has multiple different types of PDFs available. I know there's like travel request forms and everything like that. Um, when you send it, you'll see a little manage. Um, so I'll just show you an example of one that I recently did. Um, this is from a former training. So um, you can see here that there's the folks that did the signatures. This is from our last training from almost a year ago. Wow, a couple months. You can see here that I can now download this PDF. If this is a PDF that I want to continue to use, I can create a template out of it. So if I need to be able to reuse it, which is really nice. Um, and then the activity, this again shows who got the signature and when they actually signed it. So all that is in your manage part of Adobe. It also shows you if you have any waiting for you. So you can always go to this website and it'll actually show you if you have any Adobe signs waiting for you, um, waiting for your signature. I'm going to pause for a second. Any questions so far? Yes, Carol.
I have a unique situation, Matt. So
Okay,
if it's something that is not discussed within this meeting, I completely understand.
sure.
So I'm doing equitable services for private schools, and I need to mass batch send an Adobe form to them so that they can individually sign. Now, it's not one form, and then I have 50 people sign that one form. Instead, it's creating one form and then sending it out individually to 50 people, but not having to do it, um, recreate the form and then do it again and recreate the form. It's more like a mass batch.
So
I
you
know,
have their,
right?
so you have their emails,
Yes.
and when it's sending it out, it's each person is getting their own form.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I
Is
know.
there on the form itself, is there places for people to sign on the actual, like, I'm assuming it's a shared form, correct? So on that
Mhm.
form, there will be 50 signatures.
So, what I saw online that I might be able to do is take the one form, and even though I'm sending it out to 50 people, when they open it, it will become their personal form, but I don't have to send it out individually. I can mass batch it.
Okay.
And so if it's not conversation for this
Yeah,
meeting, it's totally fine. We can
let's
get
talk offline, and what I'll
yeah,
probably have us do is like you'll share your screen with me just so I can kind of see because I'm a very visual learner. So I'm
absolutely.
happy to help with that though.
Thanks, Matt, and great training. I've learned so much
Oh,
already.
thank you. I appreciate that. Um, so I understand there's folks that don't have the premium version to Adobe. Um, If you're on your PC, I believe it's called, I think it's called like Portal, or if you go to your um the start menu and you type in, God, what is it called? It's not Microsoft Portal. I know it's something Portal, but what it'll do is it'll show you all the different applications that can be downloaded to your recent computer. Um, and Adobe is in there. It's the full version of Adobe. What you might have on your computer is just the Adobe Reader. This one is the full-fledged Adobe everything. So again, it's something Portal, and I'm going to be really upset that I'm not going to, I'm probably going to think of it later, and then I'll send you an email, or maybe my follow-up or something like that. I can send you what it's actually called. But what that'll do, that will allow you to download the full version of Adobe, where you can actually create PDFs. The nice thing about the full version of Adobe is you can actually edit PDFs, which is really nice, depending on the PDF. So I had talked about that password company portal. Thank you, Ashley. Yes, I appreciate you. um, yes, it's like a little blue icon. So you go to start, you type in company portal, and then you'll see the list of apps, and then it's Adobe Acrobat. You want to make sure it's not the reader, it's the full version. Um, so thank you, Ashley. I owe you a coffee. Um, where was I? Um, Editing PDFs. Now, when it comes to PDFs, the original author of the PDF is can password protect it, and so that it cannot be edited or editable. Um, if you've been to my Canva training, you'll know Canva can also do editing PDFs. So I'll be offering another Canva training here again in March. So if you are interested in that, I have that coming up. Um, So here's where I kind of allow people to actually try out the Adobe Sign program. Um, so what I would recommend you do, and this is what I would recommend you do, is so if you wouldn't mind just going to um, docs.google.com, you can also go to, if you, a little trick that a lot of people don't know about, if you type in docs.new and hit enter, it'll automatically create a blank doc for you instead of going to docs.google.com and clicking on blank blank document. And so what I'll have you do is what we'll do is we'll have you put like, put like name, colon, a little bit of spaces, and again, that shift and the hyphen key right next to the zero to create that line. And then I'll have you type in the word signature, colon, with a line. Now, I'd like you to actually try out what it's like to actually um, send a PDF, if everyone's okay with that. So again, you're going to go to docs.new, and you're going to create a new document, and then put the name, and then shift hyphen to do the underline, signature, or hyphen. And we want to do that because when we put it in Adobe Sign, this is where Adobe Sign is going to actually read that line as an actual signature line. Um, if you didn't put a line there, it's going to do its best guess to try to do it. But I always like to put that line there so it knows it kind of recognizes it's AI, right? So it's going to recognize that's where a signature or that's where a name needs to go. So I'll just give us maybe a minute or so to do that. And again, while if people are done. If you want to put in the chat a question, or if you want to unmute yourself if you have a question, um, happy to answer. Okay. So what we will do is I'm just going to quickly name this. I'm just going to name it like fast signature. Okay, so now I want to download this as a PDF. I want to turn this into a PDF. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to File in the upper left-hand corner. I'm going to scroll down to Download. I'm going to go to the right, and I'm going to go right here to PDF. And what that's going to do, that's going to put that into my Downloads folder right here. And I like to do it this way just because now when I go to Adobe Sign, all I have to do is drag and drop that PDF. You can go, when you go to the Adobe Sign, I'll show you a different way on how to access it. I just find that the drag and drop method is just a little bit easier. And I think Microsoft Edge has something like this. So if you download something, you might have to go to like your downloads over here to access it. To be honest, I haven't used Microsoft Edge in a while. I mostly just kind of stick with Chrome. That's where that is right there. Okay, so you should have your downloaded PDF. So I would ask you to go right back to Adobe Sign, right through the uh, through the web. And what we'll do is because it'll just be you signing it, we'll actually do this as you. You'll send it to yourself and you'll see what that looks like. Okay, so we're going to request an e-signature. So right here in the middle, click on request e-signature. So again, I can drag it and drop it, which I'll end up doing, but what you can also do is where you click on choose files, add a file from your device, and then, it's in my downloads, so it's, right here. But what I'll do is, so I could click on here and then open it, or just a simple drag and drop. So your screen should look like this now. So right here at the bottom, I'm just going to choose myself as the signer. And then I'm going to do preview and add fields. So again, when you drag and dropped it, it'll create that where you put the name, the description, what you would like. You'll see there's no drop down arrow for this because I am the only signature. I only sent it to me. I didn't send it to anybody else. So I'm going to put my name right here. And then the e-signature right here. You see here there's a red asterisk because this is a required field. You can turn that off if you want. Um, you can also make any other things required. You don't have to, but yeah. So now that I've created this, I'm going to click on send. So I just went back home. It came up where I could actually sign, but I want you to see what it looks like from the actual screen. Um, you should also get an email at some point as well. I know it can sometimes take a couple of minutes for an email to come through that says, oh, actually, I just got it. So let me show you what that looks like. So here's the email right here. So your agreement has been sent for signature. Click here to view the document online. So again, I click on here, take me to that page. Otherwise, if I'm on the actual page right here, if I'm on my Adobe Sign, I see there's one waiting for me. I can also go to manage, waiting for you. So I click on here and open. So now I can click on view and sign. You see it already filled in my name because I put that full name right there. I can click on sign because there's my signature right there. And then I click submit. I am all set. Then it should, yep. And so here's my email confirming that Matthew Smoot signed the PDF. And again, if you have multiple people on there, it will show you, who signed, when they signed, just for any kind of documentation purposes. And then you'll be able to have copies of this or whatever you need. That's really about it when it comes to Adobe Sign. It's fairly intuitive, not sure how many times you're actually going to be creating PDFs to send to folks. But this kind of just shows you a nice little interface of when you receive those documents, just the different options that you have. Um, if you ever wanted to create your own PDFs, I'm happy to have a session on that, but it's fairly simple as you saw with the Google Doc there. The Adobe Acrobat is very similar where you can create a PDF, we can put different radio buttons and the texting, not texting, but adding text, adding radio buttons, anything like that. So if you want to put together agreements or anything like that, it's fairly simple. Um, so yeah, that's actually all I had. I'm gonna stick around for people if they have any questions. But if you don't, I appreciate you all being here, and please let me know if there's anything else that you need. And stay warm. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording too.